I, Zasko3, the mechanical coach, had a student who constantly seemed to get caught off guard and always ended up peeking into 3 people at once while simply trying to find just a 1v1. I've seen players as high as Immortal make these exact same mistakes without even realizing, so in today's coaching session I ensure that the player not only has everything they need to start winning more gunfights, but so do you, if you stick around to the end of the video. Alright, well, I'll get you to start off just by telling me a little bit about yourself and what rank you were at the moment.
Okay, so I'm currently a Senate 1. I hit that like a week ago, and I've been playing the game for like 2.5 years, I think.
In terms of our practice, what does our practice look like at the moment? How often are we playing? What sort of practice are we doing? What sort of things are we focusing on? Stuff like that.
I do Kovacs. I have like a few playlists I made, and I usually just run a lot of death matches every day.
In terms of any like weaknesses that you feel like are in your gameplay, what's the main weaknesses that stand out to you?
I feel like I'm inconsistent in game, and also if like multiple targets appear on my screen, I can get one maximum.
Okay, makes sense. I've had a look through the VOD and the timestamps that you sent, and yeah, it'll be a super interesting one. I've got an idea of what direction to go in. So the first thing that I want to do in today's session is just look at the round that you showed me and then really break down all the things that we can do to put the odds further in our favor and understand maybe what's holding us back from having the odds put in our favor per se. In this round here, we start off, I think if it's the right round, we're playing con, and the first thing we do, I'm pretty sure, is hold for a second and take these fights up here, okay? And if I play through just to this point here, right, we'll go back and watch that again in slow motion. So watching that back, is there anything off the bat that you notice is not as effective as it could be? So hypothetically, we're talking about situations where you get A, caught off guard by like, you know, multiple people appearing on a screen, or also just inconsistency, right? Like things that would impact your ability to actually effectively kill anyone that appears on your screen in any of these moments. Is there anything that stands out to you?
Okay, so I noticed when my crosshair was still on the wall, I was already exposed to an angle.
That's a big one.
And also here, I was holding W, I think. Yeah.
At this point, our shoulder's also showing to the person.
Yeah.
I'll get you to actually just head over to the same spot in your custom game. And what I'd want you to do is almost just start from that same position there. And let's just recreate that first set of gunfights. It was definitely an upgrade there for sure. All right, and now what I'm going to do is add a couple more layers to that. So the first thing is I'll put in place like a couple little boundaries, a couple little guiding rules that I want you to follow when we do peek our angles. Because right now what we're doing is we're slicing the pie, and we're taking isolated gunfights one at a time, and we're looking for speed, we're looking for efficiency, and what we want, right? The ideal is to peek into this person and peek insta-kill them, right? That's what we're going for every time we peek. After this one, we're going for this person to peek insta-kill them. Peek insta-kill if someone does appear. That's what we want, ideally. And now I want to just put these rules in place so that we can get closer to making that happen. And the first one, have you actually had a chance to see any of the videos where I talk about the steps behind slicing? Have you seen any of those in my coaching sessions?
I think I saw one session where it was like about wide swing and...
Yeah, I'll quickly break down what I want your peaks to look like and the 3 steps that I have behind them. And the first one, which is very important because we'll need to work on it, right, is to understand how we're setting up for the slice based on what fight we're taking. So if the first fight we're taking is right here, right, and we're over here, what I would want you to do is to really clearly set up for this fight. So come close, right? We got to get ourselves in the right position. So I say right here for this fight, and then we want our crosshair in the right spot, and we want to be 2 steps away from peeking the angle, and we want to be far enough away to isolate it. That's like your setup. And then the second step, once you are set up, is the movement side of things. For your movement, I need it to be, if I play sound, I want you to be in the habit of being able to take 2 steps, right? 2 full steps without making any noise like that. 2 full steps, no more, because we kind of want to be like not making noise, and we want to have this be useful for when we do like contact space and we don't always want to make noise. And also just when you're gunfighting in general, even if the enemy knows where you are, if your peaks are still silent, you could end up peeking like 3 angles, repositioning and not making any sound, and you get a bit of an advantage from that. So I say no more than 2 steps when we peak, and then on top of that, no less than 2 steps. And the reason being is if we're set up properly, but then we take less, we end up shoulder peeking. If we need to take less than 2 steps, right, it's because we're set up way too close. And well, if we're this close to the wall anyways, we're shoulder peeking this person as well. And if our things look like this, if our peaks look like this with little micro steps, what we're basically doing is tracing the angle. And if someone was here, based on how angle advantage works, if someone was there and we're tracing the angle despite having angle disadvantage, they're going to see our shoulder first, because the way angle advantage and disadvantage works in Valorant is, I'm sure you understand that concept, where whoever's closer, you know. So that's why sometimes you want to trace an angle and sometimes you want to pre-aim an angle. And if you want to pre-aim an angle but you end up doing micro steps, you do technically end up tracing the angle. Like we do this one, and then at this point this person can see us and then they pre-fire us. And I can actually show you exactly what it looks like from the enemy perspective when you do get pre-fired, because this is an example of someone doing little micro steps to peek me. You can see it, yeah, the little micro steps, and then by the time they even look, they didn't even really get to see me. I just insta-killed them. And how do we avoid that? By making sure that we're doing a minimum of 2 steps, commit, 2 steps, commit. Get to the next angle, set up, 2 steps, commit. Now, when we're in the movement step, I want you to trust in the setup that you've set up. Basically, where you've put your crosshair is where I want it to stay, because if we peek and we move our crosshair, we're making it a messy gunfight from there by not being ready. It's kind of like if you're moving left automatically, but then it turns out they're to the right, you now got to go the other way, and you're just adding extra time to the I guess the overall time to kill. And what I want you to do is be quick and deadly with these. So when we do set up, know where you're setting up to, stop, take your 2 steps, and then just wherever your crosshair lands, now you're looking for a kill, go for the kill, right? And I want it to be the only mouse movement from here to here. That's the final step, is the micro adjustment. Is wherever you're going to get the kill, to take the fight, that's the only mouse movement you're doing. So once again, set up, crosshair in the wall, 2 steps. Even if your crosshair is slightly in the wall like this and you make a slight error like I have here, it doesn't matter, because all you have to do at the end of the day is you just micro adjust and shoot, right? But ideally you do get all the way out, your crosshair's right there, and you can you can just micro adjust and shoot. And if you follow all these steps here, set up, and the glue that holds it all together is the tempo at which you do everything as. So if we go like this, what's going to happen is we're going to peek this, we're going to start going to the next one, we're going to realize that someone was there, and then we're going to need to go back, and then we're probably going to like move in the other direction, and it's going to be really messy, right? And what's wrong with that? Well, now we've gone from step kill to step go back and kill. It's a whole lot slower, and once again, speed efficiency. So you have to slow it down a tiny bit to make sure that we don't make any mistakes that could slow us down dramatically. So yeah, with those in mind, what I'll get you to do is we'll really segment it. I'll get you to go back just to where we started from. Start off from here. I'll get you to take the fights just at a slower pace so we can break it down a bit. It's already looking much better. Much better.
Instead of like tracing the angle, I just do...
Yep, we don't trace this one here because if you were to trace that angle and I was back here, huge angle disadvantage, right? You can calculate that by saying they're 23 meters away, I'm 16 meters away. The difference is, I think, 7 meters versus my 16. So I have huge angle advantage here. If you trace this angle, I see your shoulder. The second your head comes around, it is a case of seeing it is this situation, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't want to trace that because we have angle disadvantage. We need to be peeking that one by one. 2 full steps as well is very important here, because if we do any less, we are once again, like if we just do this, we're basically tracing. Cool. Now, let's play through from here. So you do trace this angle, which is good. You just intuitively know to do so because you have angle disadvantage. It's about applying that to the other ones as well. Keep going. Now, the rule with, you know what, actually it doesn't matter because you see the tail, so you know you're pretty safe there. But when slicing, the main rule is that I just want you to be as far away as possible. So if we are slicing, right, we don't slice from here because I'm exposed to all these angles. We slice from here so that we're not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll keep playing this anyways.
There, I think I just want to go quick.
There we go, we get the kill. There's a decent form there as well. But it's just about making sure that we do that more consistently and also clean it up a tiny bit. But here is where, from this point onwards, right, should be getting set up. We stop here, right? If I go, I'll actually show you what it should look like. We should stop, right? Because we do know there's someone art. And we don't know if they could have walked up more and could be peeking us or holding us after taking the fight with the Reyna. So you're in this position. What do? We're far away. We're 2 steps away. We set up in the wall, crosshair in, 2 steps, and then take the fight. Here, again, huge angle disadvantage. So if we trace this, we're going to die. If we trace this all the way to here, we are 100% going to die.
Even worse. Yeah.
Even worse. And then, yeah, you kind of see what I mean when I say we just sort of trace along. And then we weren't ready for any of these fights. I don't think there was someone flowers, but...
Yeah, I think it was just Cypher art.
Cypher art. Yeah, so now it's just Cypher. And that one Cypher fight is the most important one to worry about there. And basically, I want it to be more intentional, deliberate. I want it to be a slightly more controlled pace. I want everything to be really glued together well with a nice pace, a nice tempo, a nice almost system. I can show you a clutch as well where, not clutch, it's a very similar situation, a 2v2, and I'll show you, it's actually pretty much the identical situation. So I set up and I peek, I set up, peek, get the kill, and then the Reyna is on the bomb, so then I go wide and then I go for the wide swing. Still controlled, proper pacing, everything's done with the rules that I sort of swear by. Any questions with that so far?
So for the part where I was fighting the Tejo, if I was close to the wall because I want to be quick, do I still peek like slicing the pie, or do I just wide swing out?
You want speed? We still follow the same rules. What I would do is just from further back, jump peek, he's not there, and then I'll go like ultra wide, and then if he's not there again,
Okay.
trace, slice, wide swing, and take that fight. And you can do all the things that we have discussed, right? Like the proper technique, do it one by one. You can do that at a faster pace. It doesn't have to be slow, but it's just as long as you aren't rushing the actual, like this is the only part, if you slice every angle properly, you're going to find that you will take more time. And the only thing I can suggest for that is to find as many opportunities to trace as possible. So if I ping this angle here, I'm at 8 meters. Here, it's 18 meters. So technically, if they're right up against the back wall there, they do have a tiny bit of angle advantage, but it's not a set rule of if they have more, you should do this. If you should have less, you should do this, because it scales. Yeah, the more angle advantage the enemy has, the more of a disadvantage you are at when you trace. However, if it's neutral, it's 50-50. And if it's 10 versus like 22, yes, I think you should pre-aim this to get an actual advantage. But if you trace this, it's a 50-50. If you've got speed in mind and you're rushing to get to the bomb, trace these angles because you're not at that much of a disadvantage. Get to this one, pre-aim it because that's a huge difference. And then maybe wide swing this one. They're on the bomb. Check if they're on the bomb. Wide swing. And yeah, it's like flow from one to the next, but follow those same rules. I would say we don't really want to just go straight into a wide swing because they'll probably be holding for it. But if we jump peek, we kind of condition them to hold closer, and we also get the information on where they are. You can jump peek again if you want. Yeah, if you're really in a rush, again, I would say wide swing. But if you're going to get close to the wall, I don't recommend doing this. I think this is just an easy shot, like if they're holding you for the enemy to get the kill, because you're a bigger target when you're closer to the wall, number one. So when they're angle holding you, like they could be angle holding here for the far peak, but you just peek close into them anyways, they're going to kill you. And there's just so much of an advantage that can be gained by having them waste their first bullet accuracy. Like the second they shoot and start crouch spraying, while you're moving, you just like kill them instantly, and it's just such an advantageous position to be in. We don't want to lose that. Yeah, does that answer your question in that situation? Just how we would speed up if we wanted to?
Yeah, it does.
Perfect. Yeah, this is something that I actually like practice a bit just in my custom games. I'll literally like run around the map and just practice different pacings and different situations. So I'll practice contacting A, right, where I'm like going through, taking each fight one by one, set up, peek, set up, peek, set up, peek. Go to the next one. Oh, missed it. Set up, peek, set up, peek. Trace these ones up until here. Set up, peek. Come back around. So I do practice this a lot. And then I also practice the inverse, which is like how I would go about like W King's sight if I wanted to. Like, so I'd swing that, come around, trace this, jump peek, nothing there, wide swing this angle. Yeah, I guess hopefully now that I've sort of brought these ideas to your mind, they're fresh in there, you'll be able to watch back a lot of the footage and see situations where you can apply these things. You'll watch back like around from whatever game you play, and you'll be like, oh, yep, hang on, I, sliced from way too close or something of the sort. Positionally, right here, we're perfectly set up to peek this angle, right? So all you'd have to do is now move your crosshair to pre-aim and you'd be done with the setup. And then from there, you'd take your 2 steps, right? But instead, we can see that we're moving to the left and moving out at the same time. So then we end up shoulder peeking this, and then we peek out, and we were already peeking. So we did like a bit of a double peek. And what's a double peek? Well, it's what we saw in the clip here, right? They kind of show themselves and then peek. We don't want to do any of that. So one thing that I want to make extremely clear is I've broken down the steps for you, right? What's really important to know is that we don't blend these steps together. And if you want to set up fast, it's set up peek, set up peek, set up peek, set up peek, right? It can be done fast, but it can never be done blended together like this, right? I want it to be defined and I want it to be like clean and snappy. We don't start moving until our crosshair is in position, dead still, and we're like fully set up and we're pre-aiming in the right position, right? So from the second we start moving, we don't move our mouse again until we're going to finish the kill, because we want to be ready. We want to be idle, ready to go, ready, get the kill. That first initial bit, the second the smoke drops, we're not snappy, we're not quick, we're not going to be able to capitalize on the opportunity and the peek's advantage if anyone was there, right? We're very like slow, there's just a bit too much going on. If we look at these individual peaks here, again, this is the same problem where we're too close and we're slicing. By doing so, we exposed ourselves to like this angle here. We're shoulder peeking these people back here. And we spoke about how you're not able to handle the situations where you get multiple people on your screen at once. This is how you put yourself in those situations in the first place. And we don't want that, right? We want to avoid that as best as possible, because we can only shoot one person at a time. And I want to isolate that, kill. Isolate that, kill. Any other questions from yourself so far while you've got me?
Okay, so more questions. If you're peeking, but then you also think the enemies might peek you, how would you peek? Would you still do the same thing?
If you truly, so this is where I would say there's a Sun Tzu quote where he says, do nothing and win. If you truly believe that you're going to be peeked, you don't have to do anything. You don't actually have to do anything, especially if you're in an off angle and you know that you're basically not going to get fully pre-aimed. You don't have to do anything. So here's an example of that.
Hold on,
I'll play one.
Oh, snowman.
So if I play that in slow motion, basically, see the jet, shoot. I go for a quick pre-aim shot, fall back. Now at this point, the fight is like ongoing. We're planting, and the jet can't stay there forever. The jet is going to peek me, and this is a situation like you're describing, where you know they're going to peek you, but you kind of want to peek them. I would say just do nothing. Have your crosshair in the right spot and just simply like go for the angle hold. If you truly believe that they're going to be there, go for the angle hold. Because what I do is I show myself to the right and then I walk to the left, right? So I'm slightly off, and then I just angle hold and get the kill. And this is a lot better than, you know, when you go to peek someone but they're peeking you and then your crosshair's in the wall, and it's like, it's just cleaner to angle hold, in my opinion. I think that that'll see a lot more success. An example of that, literally, this is just an angle hold, but the Teo was like fighting earlier, And instead of pushing up to try and peek into him, I actually just stayed patient the whole time, and I do end up getting rewarded with the kill. My main thing is you don't have to peek into everyone. This jet example is the best example of that. So if you, let's say like there is someone backside and you're fighting, you peek, there you go, you see them. I would say now hold this position, angle hold, fall back. Now hold this position again. You know that you've just shot them here, maybe they missed. Right, now you fall back to this position. You know they're right here, and it might be tempting to swing into them, but if you just wait, they're going to swing into you, and you could have walked anywhere. You could have walked right, you could have walked left, you could have gone anywhere. You could be holding the same angle, right? Take advantage of that, in my opinion. Now, in terms of how I would go about actually developing these things, so we need to put in place some nice clear action steps, so you got a bit of a plan for your practice moving forwards. You were saying you play a lot of deathmatch, right? Yeah. How much time do you reckon you put into your deathmatches at the moment?
Probably like 30 minutes to an hour every day.
Perfect. So in that little training block, what we'd want you to do is incorporate in basically some extra practice time. Whether you have ideally you have a duo, you have someone that you can just jump into a custom with or whatever. It doesn't matter the rank, because it's just effective anyways. Find a place where you don't feel too comfortable and learn how to use your new proper technique where you peek and clear all these angles. Learn how to do that with someone in a custom game, so that when they do appear, you've got a fight to take. Whether it's this is, in my opinion, the most effective way to actually develop your pre-aiming and your contacting and your confidence in that. I would then record it and watch him back and be like, where did I go wrong here? I think watching back your mechanics is a really quick way to see some improvements, because the footage, it's never I don't really know what I did wrong here. You'll be able to look at it and know straight away, okay, I got to work on this, or maybe you did all the right peaks, but your raw aim was bad. So I'd say also incorporate in whatever you do, even if you do your death matches only, watch back your death matches and have a look at the footage, see what maybe 2 minutes looks like, what you did in that, how many peaks you did right, how many peaks you did wrong, stuff like that. At the moment, what I'm doing is, because I'm working on my stability, that's going to be really useful in my wide swings, and if I get more confident with my wide swings, then I'll be able to use that more effectively when it comes to comboing things together, right? So I've just been getting in one bot like this, I'll trace them, and then I'll stop and shoot, trace, stop and shoot, trace, stop and shoot, and hopefully not miss. But this is what I've been doing after my aim training, so I'll go and do 10 to 15 minutes just practicing being as smooth as possible, and then I'll do 10 to 15 minutes of this, and then from there I'll go into a custom game and do exactly what we did together. I go into a custom game and I just practice navigating the map, going through all the different angles, wide swinging, how I go fast, how I go slow, and I try and incorporate that same smoothness into the gameplay. And then from there I go into my death matches and I level it up one by one, and by the time I get to my death matches, I've got really smooth aim. I'm feeling really stable, really good. And then when I start peeking people and I start going for wide swings, that all helps there as well. And it helps to just convert more kills, basically. The self-assessment checklist here is what I'm going to send you to work on your slice. I'll send this to you now. The first question being did the opponent shoot first? Because if we have peek's advantage, we've got everything in our favor, we're catching them off guard, there's no reason for us not to insta-kill them. A good peek looks like this. Okay. No time to react, right? That's peek's advantage in a nutshell. You just get shit on.
Gone,
Yeah. Basically, if I was to kill that Raze there, the Raze should be questioning how the hell he wasn't able to do that. And comes down to, first of all, the setup, which we spoke about. We're far away. Are we isolating our fights? Have we got good crosshair placement? And do we set up well? Then movement, 2 full steps, no more, no less. Preemptively stopping, because that's going to give us the most speed in our time to kill. And then the micro adjust, same thing. There's lots to that we can look into. Was it a clean, smooth movement to the head, or did we overflick, tense up, and it was really messy? Because we want that to be nice and clean. And that's something that if we do just pick any random fight, even the Teo one, we can critique the aim side of things, which is important to do as well, because that'll guide where you go in your aims. So let's have a look. We peek. Yeah, and we can see that instead of going straight down, there was a tiny little curve where we went left and wrapped back around, right? So what I would say is we could get some cleaner micro adjustments so that instead of having that little curve, we're going straight to the target, cutting our time to kill down again. For any other kills, you might spot an overflick, you might spot a huge underflick. 1 to 2 minutes of gameplay, you'll be able to spot so many things to work on with just a good checklist in mind. Don't know what happened there. Bang. Do you see that overflick? We swung past the target we're going for, and then we instantly, that's tension right there. So we could be working on our tension management. As we go onto the Teo, left, right, left, right, left, right, that's stability and reactive tracking. So overflick, and then we're going left, right, that's stability. So there, bang, in that 5 seconds of footage, now we've got some things that we could really try and target. Tension management, number 1, static / target switching, flicking from point A to point B without overflicking, and our ability to track and stay as stably as possible on a moving target. All I would say is understand like what it is that we're exposing ourselves to. So the reason I say don't peek close is right because you expose yourself to lots of angles, but this piece of cover kind of changes it, unless we're considering the fact that someone could be up here, right? That's the only thing that's questionable. But in this does look like a bit like an outlier, because if you do close peek this, you take away your ability, like there's not many other options with these doors, right? But what I'm trying to say is you do close peek, right? But you're not exposing yourself to any of these angles that you would be if this block wasn't there. So I wouldn't say this is a horrible peek. I wouldn't say it's bad. I would say what we just need to pay attention to specifically is how, when we do peek it, where's our crosshair landing? What's our technique? So do we set up is the first thing. So cool, clear that one. Now, where are we set up for? Crosshair set up here, peek. We can now question our crosshair placement, because if someone was here, that's a bigger flick than it needs to be.
That's bad, yeah.
Yeah, that there is like what we would question is where did our crosshair land, crosshair placement. I appreciate you, trusting in the process of the mechanical coaching. I'm excited to see how it does impact your gameplay. Like, let me know if you end up seeing any success from it. But
thank you.
No dramas at all, man. All the best. Good luck.
Okay, see ya.
See ya.